7th December 1941. This was the last day in history after which the map of the world was about to change forever. At that Navy base, a disaster was about to strike that no one could have imagined. On the battleship, African-American cook, Doris Miller, serves breakfast to Navy officers as soon as the sun rises. And after that he goes to collect their laundry. Exactly at 7:57 in the morning he hears a siren. A siren that perhaps no one in service ever wants to hear. He immediately comes outside and is shocked to see that the entire sky is filled with Japanese bomber aircraft. Within moments the entire naval base looked as if doomsday had fallen upon it, because Japanese aircraft had started destroying American ships, one by one. This attack was carried out on the Pearl Harbor base, and today we will find out how Japan gathered the courage to attack a country like America, why a cook named Doris Miller was given America's highest awards, and why America carried out nuclear attacks on Japan. In this interesting story, the beginning takes place in 1941. When in World War II, America had put everything at stake to help China. Yes, the same China against which America openly speaks today. It happened like this: 3 years had passed since the start of World War II, in which on one side there were Germany and Italy, while on the other side were Britain, the Netherlands, and France. America had no part in this war. It was completely neutral because due to the losses in World War I, America wanted to keep itself away from wars happening in Europe and Asia. But there was one country that kept troubling America, and that was Japan. Due to having limited natural resources, Japan was rapidly capturing neighboring countries so that it could fulfill its resource demands. Japan had already taken control of Korea, Taiwan, and large parts of China. In the Pacific Ocean, Japan also had its eyes on the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia. But the issue was that Malaysia was a British colony, Indonesia belonged to the Netherlands, and the Philippines was under neutral America. These countries did not like Japan's expansion, because behind Japan stood Hitler. And Hitler was an enemy of Britain and America. Seeing Japan's actions, in July 1941, America stopped supplying oil to Japan. Japan did not have its own oil, and 80% of its demand was fulfilled by America. America put a condition that Japan must first leave its control in China, only then it would receive oil. For Japan, this was a very difficult decision. On one side, if it left China, the world would think that despite Hitler's support, Japan had surrendered before America. On the other side was oil, without which Japan would become weak anyway. Japan decided that it would not withdraw from China, but secretly planned to capture Indonesia for oil. However, this was not easy because Indonesia was a colony of the Netherlands, and to reach there, it was necessary to first capture the Philippines, which was under America. Japan knew very well that if it attacked the Philippines, America would respond from its naval base in the Pacific, Pearl Harbor. But since Japan's oil reserves were running out and it had no other option, it decided not to attack the Philippines first, but Pearl Harbor. Japanese military leaders decided to launch a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor and completely destroy the base, so that Japan could easily capture the Philippines afterward. Japan secretly began preparations for the attack. It prepared a fleet including battleships, submarines, destroyers, and hundreds of bomber aircraft. These aircraft were sent toward Pearl Harbor through multiple aircraft carriers. On the other side, the American forces at Pearl Harbor included battleships, anti-aircraft ships, submarines, and hundreds of aircraft. America had enough power to defend itself. But it needed prior information about the attack. Japan wanted to keep the attack completely secret, so it avoided all wireless communication. After traveling thousands of kilometers, Japan's fleet reached close to Pearl Harbor. And from that point aircraft were launched to carry out the attack. The biggest attack was about to happen, in a war that America had not even joined yet. On the morning of 7th December 1941, Japanese aircraft attacked Pearl Harbor in two groups. Americans were completely unaware, and it felt like doomsday had arrived. The first group rained bombs for several minutes, and then left. It seemed like the attack had ended. But shortly after, a second wave arrived, and completely destroyed the base. The attack continued for over an hour, destroying ships, battleships, and hundreds of aircraft. During this time, an African-American cook, Doris Miller, who we mentioned earlier, heard the siren and came outside. A Japanese torpedo hit his ship, injuring many officers including the captain. Doris Miller helped move the wounded to safety, and then operated an anti-aircraft gun, firing back at Japanese aircraft. Without any formal training, he shot down multiple enemy planes. For his bravery, he was later awarded the Navy Cross, one of the highest honors in the United States. After the attack ended, Japan had pulled America into World War II. America, which had remained neutral, declared war on Japan the very next day. For the next few months, America focused on rebuilding its naval base. After some time, America launched its first attack on Japan, bombing Tokyo. This marked the beginning of a long war between the two nations. For the next several years, the war continued, and Japan became weaker. But it still refused to surrender. Finally, in August 1945, America used its last option. On the morning of 6th August, a bomber aircraft dropped a bomb named Little Boy on Hiroshima. Within seconds, a massive explosion occurred, turning everything white and creating a fireball that raised temperatures to thousands of degrees. This was the first nuclear attack in history, destroying most of the city. Just days later, America dropped another bomb on Nagasaki, named Fat Man, which completely destroyed the city. These were the only nuclear bombs ever used on humans.